So let's come back to my favorite text, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2. We are on chapter 2. I would like to just do a quick revision of what we have covered so far. If you all remember, the chapter began with Arjuna being very, very despondent. He had actually, in the end of chapter 1, he had dropped his Gandiva, and Bhagwan actually tried and succeeded in bringing him out of that tamasic state into rajas by calling him a eunuch, saying, where has this unmanly behavior come into you? And it worked. Arjun came into Rajoguna, Rajas, and realized that his thinking was not correct. So he says that Krapanata has come in, miserliness has come in. Miserliness for what? For giving up my identification with my body. I understand that I am so identified with my body, all of a sudden, I have forgotten that I'm a Kshatriya. I have forgotten that I have to fight the war, but I am considering myself to be a son, a grandson, a disciple, a cousin, a brother. And because of that, I don't know how I should be killing my own. Swajanam hi katham hatva. How can I kill my own people? But he does realize that why is it that in spite of my knowing my duty, I cannot perform it? I know I'm a Kshatriya. I know I'm supposed to fight. I know I'm standing on the battlefront. I know all these things, but when it actually is coming to act, I can't. And because he was predominantly sattvic to begin with, Bhagavan was standing right there. He surrenders. He says, Bhagavan, I surrender to you as a disciple. Please guide me. Please tell me what is, please tell me definitively. Give me a definite answer for my problem, that even in spite of my knowing my duty, I am unable to do it. And Bhagwan smiles. Because why? Because Bhagwan is always smiling. Because there is no problem for Bhagwan. Bhagwan has no problems. And also he is looking at Arjuna's problems from a very objective point of view. Even in our life, if we come out of if we have a problem in life, we should come out of that problem and look at that problem from an outside angle, and it doesn't seem as bad. It's like this, when something happens to somebody else, we're like, oh, okay, that's fine, it'll go away and blah blah. When it happens to us, we're like, oh my god, so we need to do that. We need to put ourselves in place of Bhagwan, and Bhagwan is there. So he smiles, he knows the answer, he knows what the problem is, he knows the solution. So he's not worried about it. That's how usually teachers will, if a question is asked and if they're smiling, that they know the answer. So, and then Bhagwan starts his teaching from the highest level. There is no other level greater than what Bhagwan has told from verse 11 to verse 30. He starts his teaching saying, you are grieving over things that should not be grieved over. And the wise men know that they are not the body, and what is dying is the body, and the soul never ever dies. The soul will take birth again. There have been many, many births before this, for you, for me, and for all these men as well. Like, it's not like they haven't had. And this cycle of birth and death will continue, and the soul is immortal. You are the soul, they are also the soul. So actually there is no killing happening, and that is the highest one. And there is no birth for the soul, there is no death for the soul, there is no change, there is nothing. And so you should not grieve over saying, oh, how can I kill my own people? Because you're really not killing anybody. You can't kill. Even if you want to kill the soul, you can't. And you cannot hire a hitman to kill it either. So the soul is indestructible. So that is the highest standpoint that Bhagwan starts off with. And up to verse 30. And did Arjuna understand? No, Arjuna did. We don't understand. There's no way Arjuna is. So Arjuna is not understood, because Arjuna is, why we know he is not understood? Because immediately he should have said, oh yes, okay, fine, Bhagwan, let's start the war. But he doesn't say that. That's why we know. How do we know that he didn't understand? It's because he's still standing there, looking, okay, what is this? So then Bhagwan comes absolutely to the lowest level. And he says, think about your own duty then. And that is where, if we have most of our problems, that's where we should start. What is my duty at this moment? Duties change from moment to moment, okay? Day to day, month to month, duties change. So what we have to think is, if there is some sort of a problem, what, should I do this or should I, then you should think, what is my duty at this point? That is what Bhagavan is telling Arjun. You're standing here in front of on the battlefield. What is your duty right now? What are you? Who are you? You're a Kshatriya prince. Okay, you are standing on the battlefield on the side of Dharma, right? And there have been so many deliberations to avoid this war. Have there not been? Yes, there have been. So just perform your duty. That's it. Forget everything else. Okay, you don't like Duryodhana or you like Bhishmacharya or whatever, forget your likes and dislikes. Just strictly performance of duty will guarantee you the open doors of heaven. Like Gurudev jokes, he says, you won't even have to knock on the doors of heaven. They'll be open for you with the red carpet. So, and just doing your duty. And that's true for us too. Please remember, if you just do your duty, you will reach the heavens. That's a promise. Bhagwan's words, they can never be falsified. They're not false. And they're not true only for Arjun and oh, for us, no. They're true. But please understand what your real duty is. That's the crux of the matter. That's where we fail. We fail to understand what our duty is at that moment. And therefore we do something else. But if you can understand your duty correctly, Arjun was very lucky. He was born in a Kshatriya family and his tendencies were Kshatriya, of the fighter, warrior class. And he had fought so many wars, so that was not new to him. He had prepared for this war for 12 years, so that was also not a problem. And Bhagwan tries to give him the lowest standpoint, saying, people will laugh at you, people will say you ran away from the war, that will be so insulting. That's a very low standpoint, okay? But if that is what will make us do our duty, use it. Because doing duty is the important thing. So if you think that, oh, what will people think of me if I don't do, let me do this right thing, do it. Whatever the reason, do it. It'll guarantee you the heavens. So after having given that viewpoint, then Bhagwan says, but you know what? Heavens is a point of return. So you are my favorite. I love you. So I don't want you to go for that path to go to the heavens. You can do your duty, go to heavens, but I don't want you to. So I'm going to tell you a path by which you can purify your mind and do your duty at the same time, purify your mind, because duty can be done without purification of mind. See, if Arjun would have fought the war at that point in time, the hatred for Duryodhan would have been there. That hatred was there. Okay, the anger was there. He had done it. The personal reasons were there. He de-rode my wife. He insulted my wife. He cheated us. All those personal reasons were there. And in spite of that, he would have done his duty. He would have got the heavens. But what Bhagwan is telling him now is that, okay, you have to do your duty. And yes, heavens are guaranteed, but I will tell you a method by which that same duty you perform. I'm not asking you to do something special. I'm not asking you at all to do something different, something special. I'm just telling you the same war with the same people you fight, but just slightly change your mental attitude. By doing that, why? Why should I change? Just by a shift in attitude in the mind, doing the same thing. Action is absolutely the same. Just a shift in attitude will purify your mind. And why should I purify my mind? Is because then you will understand what I told you from 11 to 30. You will actually grasp it with the purified mind. You will understand it thoroughly. And why should I understand that? Because then you will reach a point of no return. You will come to me. And once you come to me, and when Bhagavan says me in Bhagavad Gita, he means the supreme reality. He doesn't mean his Saketa or Vaikuntha Loka or no worlds. It is the supreme reality. So he says, you will come to me. So that's why Bhagavan is at the highest level, comes absolutely lower, and now he's going up slowly. So he gives the message of karma yoga. Karma is to be done but make it into karma yoga by offering all the actions to the Lord. We saw in verse 47, the very, very important verse, Karmanne vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Your right is on action alone, on performance of your duty alone. Do not have your eyes on the result. What am I going to get? What am I going to get? Don't. And if you think that, oh, if I can't have my eyes on the result, why should I do action? No, that is not an option either. This is, you can, akarmani is not doing any action at all. That is not an option for you either. This is what Bhagavan says. So that is the portion that we are on. My bookmark is on verse 50. Am I right?
Yes, that's correct, Jayaji.
Yeah. So we started with Karma Yoga in 47. Yes, because before that, Bhagavan tells him also a very important verse, I told you, Sukha Dukhe Same Krutva. So he's started the teaching for us to keep our mind at an equanimous level by saying Sukha Dukhe Same Krutva. I told you, Sukha and Dukha are two different things. They are not sama. They are not, you cannot say that Sukha is same as Dukha is same. No, our response to that Sukha, our response to that Dukha has to be the same. That is what is meant by Sukha Dukhe Same Krutva. My reaction, my response, when a Sukha comes, how do I react to it? When Dukkha comes, how do I react to it? That reaction has to be same. That is what Bhagavan means. And that is samatvam, equanimity. And that's what now he will, this word samatva will come throughout chapter 2 and throughout Bhagavad Gita. That is the key word for Bhagavad Gita, samatha. And that's what he starts. And then he also says that just a little bit of shift doing karma yoga will it'll save you from great fear. What is the fear? Transmigration is the fear. And he says, do not get into those people who talk about Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunno Bhavarjana. There are people who are talking about the Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas, where I've told you, you do anything that you want. You do a ritual, there is a ritual there. Okay, you want this, do this ritual. You want this, you do this. You want this, you do. So those are the people who have this flowery language regarding the results. So they are only after the results in the material world. Karma Kanda will only give you results in the material. And when we say material world, it is going to end. That result is going to end, including Swarga. That's why Bhagavan says even heaven ends. All the worlds end. Up to Brahmaloka, they will end. They have a beginning and they have an end. So he says, don't get caught up in those people who tell you, do this, and then you'll get this and this. Don't get caught up in that. You now do karma yoga. And to do karma yoga, the 3 requirements Bhagavan has given. First is with Ishwararpana Buddhi. So every action to be offered unto the Lord. How do I do that? Like, it's not a physical thing that, oh, should I just put it in a bowl? And no. Considering ourselves to be an instrument of the Lord. Considering ourselves to be a servant of the Guru. Doing the action for any higher altar. Any higher altar. So it can be God, it can be Guru, it can be country, it can be your small baby at home. Anything other than myself becomes a higher, something for somebody else, So best is if you do it for God or if you do it for Guru. Ishwararpana Buddhi. Bhagavan Shankaracharya says Ishwara. So Ishwara can mean Ishwara himself, Guru, country, whatever. And the method by which the action is to be done, and the attitude while doing the method. So the attitude is have to be of samatha. Not that I like this, so I will do this, and I don't like this, so I won't do that. No, if it is my duty, whether I like it or I don't like it, I do it because it is my duty. And then that would be your attitude, and the method is to do it without any kind of anxiety. What will happen? Will I get? Will I get? Will I get? that anxiety should not be there. Will I get the result that I want? That anxiety should not be there. That way you will be free. Karma Yoga in chapter 3, we will be dealing with all these points once again in more detail. And then in 48, he gave Yogastha Kuru Karmani Sangam Tyaktva Dhananjaya, attachment to be given up, O Dhananjaya, O Arjuna, Samatvam Yoga Uchate. When you give up attachment, only you can become samatva, equanimous. Why? Because when you have attachment towards one, then obviously there's something else where you don't have an attachment or you don't have a liking, and then you cannot be equanimous. You can never be equanimous if you have this like and dislike. So that's why he says, this is yoga, not having any kind of likes or dislikes. That is what samatva is. It is not, both has to be toned down. Likes also have to be toned down. Dislikes also have to be toned. That becomes Durena Yavaram Karma Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya. Far inferior is that action which is done only for results. Karma Yoga, if you do it not for the results, but only for purification of the mind. Every karma has two results, internal and external. So there is an external result which is in the material world. So you are studying, you want a first class, so you'll pass your exam, or you'll get a bonus, or you'll get a promotion. There is an external result. But there is also an internal result of the mind. Prasada Buddhi, Bhagavan will talk about it. Prasada Buddhi. It's peace of mind. So this internal result is what we need to work for, not necessarily the external result. When the karma is done with a focus on the internal result, which is I want peace of mind. What happens is when the mind is settled, when the mind is equanimous, action that comes out of us also is good, because it's not done with anxiety, worry, agitation. So the work is good, and then the external result will come. And that's why Karma Yoga, he says, it's like a win-win situation, because whether or not you get the external result, the internal result is coming in the form of peace of mind. And that's why it's a win-win situation. People have no clue. Most of the people have no clue of this internal result. They think you do action and you get something outside. That's why action is done. So they don't. And this is where we come in. Like as seekers, we must keep in mind that there is also an internal result of action. And that is what I want to go for. Okay. That is where we had completed. Are there any questions so far? Shall we go ahead? Okay. So verse 50. Buddhi yukto jahatiha ubhe sukruta dushkrute tasmad yogaya yujyasva yoga karma sukaushalam. Endowed with wisdom, evenness of mind, one casts off in this life both good deeds and evil deeds. Therefore, devote thyself to yoga. Yoga is skill in action. This phrase, yoga karma sukaushalam, also is very famous. Our Swamijis have actually just done lectures on this yoga, only this much, yoga karma sukaushalam. So here, let's see, buddhi yukto jahatiya. This buddhi, intellect, yukta is joining, coming from yuj dhatu, so endowed with buddhi. Now, this buddhi, one thing we must understand, this is not jnana buddhi. We are not in jnana yoga anymore. We are in karma yoga. So this buddhi is karma yoga buddhi. This, when he says endowed with wisdom, buddhi yukta, and what wisdom? Not wisdom that I am the soul and there is only one soul, not that type of wisdom. That is also wisdom. Okay, but here he's not talking about that wisdom where there is the oneness between the microcosm and macrocosm. No. This wisdom is how to do the action, karma yoga, how to convert karma into karma yoga. This is endowed with this wisdom. That is what this is. So this wisdom is not referring to jnana, it is referring to how to do karma. And how should karma be done? If somebody were to ask us, oh, you should do it most efficiently, right? This is how you do this will come. But what Bhagavan is saying is, with yoga you do it. Yoga is what again, Johnny? Means what? With samatva yoga, you do it. Your efficiency, your dexterity in action is the samatha in your mind. See, if we say how an action is to be done, it would be, okay, these are the steps, follow these steps. So there's an external map of how a particular action is to be done. If you take a simple example of, okay, then take these ingredients and then do this and do this and do this. But then what is the condition of your mind? So the condition of your mind is saying buddhi yukto, wisdom. What wisdom should the mind have? That this I am doing for a higher altar. This I am doing without the anxiousness, the anxiety for the results. You understand? This is how karma is to be performed. Then it is karma yoga, and then it is buddhi yukta, endowed with wisdom. That is the wisdom that Bhagavan is saying. When you have to do karma, what happens? You cast off evil and good deeds. Means what? Means you're rising above both good and evil. See, the principle of karma is whether you do good or whether you do bad, karma binds. Because when you say I am doing good or I am doing bad, whoever is doing bad, each karma is creating a vasana. That is another result that comes up. Internal result is there is a impression that is created in the subtle body, in the causal body, which remains in the causal body and is carried. It becomes a reason for transmigration. So when he says cast of both good and evil deeds, he's meaning those vasanas are not created. Whether I do good or whether I don't do good, if I don't take up the doership, that I am the one that is doing this, I am the one that has done so good, or I shouldn't have done this, I feel guilty. So when that doership is there, what is being created is a vasana. And that vasana is becoming a cause for my next birth. So when he says it casts off the evil deeds and the good deeds, it casts off the vasanas that will be created. That is what is meant. So when I do karma as a karma yoga, with surrender, with a mental attitude of surrender to the Lord, without any anxieties for the past, without any anxieties for the future, worrying of the past, oh, I did this in the past and it didn't work out, now will it work out this time? That sort of anxiety should be remaining in the present when I do the action just for the sake of purification of the mind. It will cast off those vasanas, because the vasanas, when they get exhausted, no new vasanas will be created. And that is the meaning of the mind getting purified. Because when no new vasanas are created, the likes and dislikes will reduce. Why is there like and dislike in our mind? Why do you think there is strong like? Strong is coming from our vasana level. That's why very, very much I like a particular thing, movies or tea or coffee, alcohol. I like it very, very much. And there are some things which I absolutely abhor, I don't like. And that is all coming from the vasana level. So when these vasanas we start cleansing, and how do I do that? Is by in the mind, because I cannot work directly on the vasana. I can only work on the thoughts in my mind. So when I keep my thoughts under control, do every action. And therefore I've told you, karma yoga is not a special action. It is not like, oh, I will go volunteer once a week somewhere and then that's my karma yoga. No, karma yoga is done throughout the day. Your own housework has to become karma yoga. Your own cooking, you're taking care of the children, you're cleaning your house, whatever that you do, it's karma yoga. Don't think it's a voluntary. Actually, voluntary work creates more ego sometimes, that I'm doing so much voluntary work. That also I've seen all that, right? So it is not people, and that is a misunderstanding that people have. Karma yoga means you go do something free of charge, free of charge, volunteer, so you don't get paid. No, your own job can become karma yoga. You're getting paid, and you just do it, happily. It's karma yoga. So don't think that karma yoga is volunteer work. Every work, okay? So this is what Bhagavan is telling Arjun. Arjun, you fight the war with this wisdom, buddhi. And what it will do is it will give you the purity of the mind to understand what I told you in the previous verses. Tasmad tasmad yogaya yujyasva. So therefore, because your vasanas will get burned, therefore I'm telling you, engage in this war. Yoga karma sukha. This is the kushalata is what? Efficiency. Kushalata is efficiency in action. And when we say this person is efficient, usually we'll be looking at the external things that this person is doing. Oh, he's very organized. He got so many things done in one day, all that. But Bhagwan is not calling that kushalata. Bhagwan is saying your mental peace, the more you are at peace mentally, that is your kushalata. That is your efficiency in action. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. And he calls it yoga word I told you, joining to the higher, because it will become a means for you to join to the higher. Karma yoga is not giving you direct liberation, but that is the only means. You have to be on the path to liberation. And therefore, it will join you to that liberation, to that moksha that we are talking about. It will join you. That's why you do this. This is what Bhagavan is telling him. Buddhi yukta, okay, endowed with wisdom. Wisdom of how karma should be converted into karma yoga. And why? Why? Because that is what will cast off or take me above good and bad deeds. Okay? And that is yoga. That itself is yoga. That itself will become the means. Here, your means to join to the higher. All right. Now, karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantya namayam. The wise, possessed of knowledge, having abandoned the fruits of their actions and freed from the fetters of birth, go to the state which is beyond all evil. Now here, manishinaha, that is the wise. Manishinaha word has come before. There I told you that manishinaha means one who is a realized master. But here, when Bhagavan says the wise, possessed of knowledge, it is not, see, this is karma yoga. So this possessed of knowledge is, this person is not possessed of the knowledge that there is oneness between me and the Lord. Because if he was possessed of that knowledge, then action, there's no need for instructions of action for him. So wherever this buddhi word is coming, and it's coming every verse, this buddhi word is coming up. Note that. Last verse also there was buddhi. Here also there is buddhi. So buddhi yukta. Again here it is buddhi yukta. So this buddhi, don't think this as jnana. That's why I told you in the beginning only that jnana, keep it aside for a while. This buddhi is the buddhi how to do karma yoga. Okay. So the wise here doesn't mean a realized master. Manishina doesn't mean a realized master. It means a person who knows how to do karma yoga, how to do karma as karma yoga. That also is a wise person. That is a seeker. So this is actually instructions for us. That's why these instructions are more important right now at our stage in our life than the 11 to 30 verses. So that is very, very high. So this is for a seeker, for us. Please understand that this knowledge, method and attitude of doing every action you do, and phalam tyaktva, don't worry, do not have insistence on the results. Phalam tyaktva doesn't mean that, you get a result and you say, okay, I don't want it. No. You get a result, you take it. We are not saying don't take it, but don't be anxious about it while doing the action. It's not renunciation of actual result. It's a renunciation of insistence on the result, worrying about the result. Understand that. Okay. So karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyakta, the wise, not the realized masters, The seekers, let's translate that as seekers, people who are in our stage of life, they do karma in this manner. When they do karma in as karma yoga, Ishwararpana buddhi, method, attitude, without insistence on the results, then what happens? Janma bandha visheshena muktaha, means they will get liberated from the cycle of birth and death. It is because karma yoga is a means how, not directly, but what will happen is the mind will become so purified that knowledge, it will be very easy for that knowledge to arise in the mind. And when that knowledge arises in that purified mind, he will be forever liberated from the cycle of birth and death, and he will reach padam, a post, gachantya, goes, anamayam. This word anamayam is important. Namayam means disease, and it's a post. Anamayam means where there is no disease. And that, what is that post which is without disease? What instruments do we have? We have body, we have mind, and we have intellect. So the diseases of the body we all know, chiefly now COVID, that's a disease of the body. Most recent example, otherwise there are many, I don't have to explain. Diseases of the mind are this shadripus, the kama, krodha, mada, moha, matsarya, lobha. These 6 waves, they call shad urmis, Bhagwan will call them in Vivek Churamani, Bhagwan Shankaracharya. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, madha, and matsarya. So these are the 6 urmis or waves of the mind. They are the diseases of the mind because they are the negative thoughts. They are anartha karanam, because what happens is it starts with desire, and we will see that it will come, the ladder of fall. Everything starts with a desire and then it sprouts and becomes a cause for rebirth. So that is a disease of the mind. And at the causal level, at the vasana level, it is ignorance of the self that is the disease. So these are the 3 types of diseases that we actually have: body, mind, and intellect. And when he says padam anamayam, means you will reach a post which has no diseases. Means what? Means you will transcend the causal body. Means vasana, in our chart, you will reach the Om. Because we have the V and then we have the BMI. Okay, so there are diseases at the BMI level and the V level. What is the disease at the V level? Ignorance of the true self. So so when he says anamayam, you'll go to a post, means you will go to Om. Means realization. And will you go directly? No. Don't think that karma yoga will give you direct liberation. No, it will purify your mind to an extent where the knowledge will have to arise. When the mirror, see, the mind is actually right now like a mirror. Okay, so what does a mirror do? It reflects. It's very natural. You walk and then somebody smiles at you, you automatically smile. If somebody is looking the other way, you also tend to look the other way. Because why? The mind is mirroring what the other person is doing. So now this mind we are purifying. And what does it mean by purifying this mirror? Means we are polishing it. So we polish so much that it is not a reflecting medium anymore. It's a clear glass. And when it becomes a clear glass, the divinity which is inside, because Om is not outside. Please remember, Ishvara is not outside. He's within. So that divinity which is already present will shine through that glass. Right now, the mirror is blocking it. The mind is blocking. There's divinity and there's the mirror, and then this mirror is reflecting. It's a reflecting medium. So whatever comes around is reflecting. But if this gets polished to a clear glass, then the divinity within will shine forth. That is what is karma yoga will do. It will make the mirror into a glass. That's all karma yoga can do. After that, nothing is to be done. It's like you remove the clouds, then do you need something to see the sun? You don't. And that's why Bhagwan says here that those wise men, the one who knows the principles of karma yoga, will get freed from and once you realize yourself, there is no more birth for you. No janma. That's why janma bandha this thing. It's a bondage. Birth is a bondage. Birth, death. And we are going through that. So then, okay, then the question arises, so when will it happen? We always think, no, when will that happen? So Bhagavan replies, Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tada gantausi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha. When your intellect crosses beyond the mire of delusion, then you shall attain to indifference as to what has been heard and what has yet to be heard. So it crosses the mire of delusion. Moha kalilam. Kalilam word we have heard before, it's dirt. In Kashmalam Idam, Bhagavan says, where has this dirt come from? In the beginning of this chapter. So Kalilam is dirt. Dirt of Moha. Moha is delusion. What is the delusion? That we cannot distinguish between, we have no Viveka. That delusion means, and what is the highest definition of Viveka that has been given by Bhagavan Shankaracharya is the distinction between self and not self. We have Viveka outside, right? We know it's cold, let me wear a jacket, it's raining, let me take an umbrella, put waterproof shoes. All those kinds of Viveka we have. It's not like we don't have Viveka. We know what is good for us. We know what we should not eat, what we should not do. Don't jump the traffic light. All those, that Viveka we have. But this Viveka, what Bhagavan is talking about, is between the self and the not self. So Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishati. So when the intellect goes beyond this delusion, means when the intellect starts really understanding what is Atma and what is Anatma. See, Bhagavan is not giving a time limit. See how diplomatic Bhagavan is. Bhagavan doesn't say, Arjun, by the time 18, I tell you this whole thing, you will cross over. There's no time. Remember this, see this, how it means when. So for each one of us, it will be different. For some of us, it could be so many lives. For some, it could be maybe days, maybe months, maybe, years, right? Bhagavan is not taking responsibility. Bhagavan saying, when your intellect, when you start understanding what is Atma and what is Anatma and who you are, right now we are considering ourselves to be Anatma. Please remember, we think we are the body. We think we are the body, mind and intellect. Whenever we think like that, we are thinking we are the not self. We are inert, filth. Vivek, that's why Vivek Churamani. How filthy that body is, and then you consider yourself to be that body, then okay, then fine, then what to do? So he says, whenever your intellect crosses over this mire of delusion, the delusion is between Atma and Anatma. This is the delusion here. It is not any other delusion. To reach that stage, though, you go through all this Shreya, Praya, Vivek, Sadhana, Sadhya, Ansha, Anshi, all these other Vivek that I have, I think, mentioned in the Vivek Chunamani classes. Go through those, and start at Shreya, Praya is the lowest. Kathopanishad gives that Shreya, Praya means what is good for me as opposed to what is pleasing to me. That's where you start. And all the others will fall in place. At least 80% of the time, that's what the dietitian rule is. 80% they say follow the diet, and then 20% let your mind, because the mind wants to wander and do things, eat things that shouldn't be. So same thing we can also follow. 80-20 rule we can follow. 80% of the time, do things which are good for you. And always you will find that this is good and this is not good. So 80% you do it, and then 20% it's hard. If you can do it for 100%, that's good. So start there. And depending on where, if you're already doing it, that means you are on the path. Then, Atma, Anatma, Viveka will be very easy. Tada gantausi nirvedam. So that buddhi and nirvedam is, he will get vairagya. See, first Viveka, then vairagya. Vairagya cannot come before, unless I have the discrimination that this is good and this is not good. How will I have dispassion towards that which is not good? If I don't even know that this is not good, suppose, if I don't know, will I have vairagya towards that? I won't. I can't. I don't know that this is not good for me. So Viveka has to come first. So when your buddhi crosses over this delusion, what? This is Atma, this is Anatma. If I'm considering myself to be the Anatma, think again. Can I be that Anatma? Can I be the not self? So every single time you think and you bring your mind to Atma, that will develop vairagya towards Anatma. Where is Vairagya to come? Vairagya shouldn't be coming towards Atma, it should be towards Atma. And Bhagavan says, what you have heard and yet to, this is very important instruction, because you see, so far, we have lived, all of us have lived a life up to a certain stage. There are certain things that we have experienced, there are certain things that we have seen, there are certain things we have heard. And up to now, whatever has happened, we are very, we know that this, I'm dispassionate, it's okay, if it happens, not this, yes, or whatever, we know. But what we don't know is what we are going to hear. So there is a famous story, I've told this before, but maybe some of you have not heard it. So there was a disciple who asked his master, his guru, are you dispassionate, completely dispassionate? And the guru said, come in 2 years, I will tell you. So after 2 years, he goes again, and the guru says, no, come in another 2 years, then I will tell you. And then one day the disciple gets a call saying that your guru has called you right away. And when he goes, the guru is on his deathbed. And the guru says, I am dispassionate. And he dies right there. And the point is that the guru, he did not reply before, because he says, yes, I know that I'm dispassionate towards all the things that I have experienced up to now, but I don't know what else I'm going to hear. Because there you might lose your dispassion. And trust me, this happens. And I will tell you my own example also with this, because it happened to me. So, so there was this diet which Guruji had prescribed, whatever, anyway. And I gave up eggs, and that was fine. And and I used to make eggs for my family. My kids were home and everything. And 5, 6, 7 years, I don't know how many years went by. And I used to make, but I never, and I thought that, oh, I'm very dispassionate towards eggs. And one day I got a transfer, and I went to some other branch, and I was in the lunchroom, and this girl was eating a boiled egg. And when I saw it, you wouldn't believe, I wanted to eat that egg. At home, I had eggs constantly. Because my children, So I thought, what? And I thought, no. You know what? I'll forget about it. I'll go home. Days will pass by. And I didn't forget. And I didn't. That's why this hits me. Shrutasya cha, that is very important. What you will hear, what you will see, you don't know. You don't know. That's why Bhagavan has put this, very diplomatically he's put. So, and I couldn't forget it. I couldn't forget the boiled egg. Then what I did was, I said, the only way I can get rid of this is to eat the boiled egg, which I did. And after that, neutral again. So you don't know what you think that you're dispassionate towards something. So that's why Bhagavan has said this, Shrotavayasya Shrutasya cha. What you have heard so far and what you will hear. Now what you will hear, how you will know? So that's why we can never say that I am completely dispassionate. That's why the master did not reply. There's no, you come. On the deathbed, he said yes, because I have lived my life with complete dispassion. Now I can, claim that I am dispassionate, but I couldn't claim so far. So this is what Bhagavan says, that when will I get this karma yoga? When will I get this freedom from janma and mrityu, the cycle of birth and death, is when I have complete dispassion. And when will I get complete dispassion? Bhagavan says it's up to you. I can't tell. Bhagavan can't tell. This is you, when your intellect goes over the mire of delusion, knows extremely well what is Atma and Anatma, and then you have complete vairagya towards Anatma. And when will I get complete vairagya? Is what you have heard and what is yet to come. Now, how does anybody know what is yet to come in my life? That's why we say, no, up to now, yeah. Or whatever you have actually, you can say, no, I'm very now, I don't have to travel very much now. I don't have to, whatever you have done, you can say. And even then you don't know, because suddenly some exotic place will come. Those emails keep coming. So yesterday, now I got an email, now that I want to go see, I'll be honest with you. There is the deepest swimming pool in Dubai. I don't know how many of you have seen it. And there's a whole city underneath there. So see, you don't know. It wasn't there before. They've created it now. Now that email is going everywhere, right? Video. Now it will come on WhatsApp. Then what happens? Oh, I want to go see that. So that's why you never know. All right. Now, any questions? Everybody's okay? Any questions? No?
Yeah, I want to ask one thing that you said disciple and
Master.
the master. The Vairagya, what you explained, I didn't get it. He said only at the deathbed, he said.
I
So
am
what is
the disciple asked, are you dispassionate? Are you completely dispassionate?
okay? And he said only at the deathbed. So what is
Only-
in between the lines?
No, because the guru, when he is asked, he says, I am dispassionate towards what I have seen and heard, but I don't know what is further going to come in my life.
Oh,
That's what that Shrutasya cha. I don't know what I'm going to hear. I don't know what I'm going to see. Then I cannot say that I'm completely dispassionate, because something might come up where I lose my dispassion.
okay, okay.
So while he was dying, when he knew that now he's going to die, he calls him. He tells him, yes, now I can confirm to you that I am dispassionate. Because I
Okay.
know that now after this, I won't be hearing anything anymore.
Okay, that's what it. Then it comes to Mahabharata. Then Bhishma is telling that I'm not going to marry after Shantanu and Satyavati, and he says he takes the Vairagya that
Wow.
I won't marry or something.
Wow,
But-
wow. He takes a vow.
Oh, okay.
Pratidnya he does, not Vairagya. That
Okay,
doesn't
it's
mean Vairagya. Pratidnya, he makes a proclamation that I will not marry, so I will not have any progeny who will claim the throne. That's what her father says.
Okay.
Satyavati's father says, my grandchildren should get the throne. And he
Okay.
says, yes, I promise they will become the king. But he says, yeah, but what if you get married and your children then come and they will fight for the throne? Because he
Okay.
was the actual heir. Bhishma was the actual heir of that throne. It shouldn't have been, Pandavas and the brothers, right? He should have been. So he
Okay.
takes a vow that I will not get married, so I will not have children. Na?
So there is a difference between Pratigya and that's
Oh,
not
definitely.
Vairagya.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah. They're two different, totally different things.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Shruti vipratipanna te yada sthāsyati niṣchala samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogamavapsyasi. When your intellect, though perplexed by what you have heard, shall stand immovable and steady in the self, then you shall attain self-realization. So Shruti vipratipanna. So whatever your intellect, because he said, when you develop vairagya towards what you have already heard and what yet to hear. So now he says, whatever comes afterwards, but whatever you've heard, it is not perplexed means what? It doesn't, what is perplexed? Confused, right? Oh, should I do this or should I do that? That is confusion, perplexed, being perplexed. So he says, when that intellect stays firm in the self, means what? Means that intellect has realized that I am the self. The mind itself realizes, right? The ego itself realizes that I am the self, because ego is the self. That is all there is to it. So when it realizes, it shall stand immovable. There is this word nischala and achala. There are two words, right? So nischala is, there is nischala buddhi and achala buddhi. What is the difference? The difference is, see, the buddhi can shake by two things. Every time there are two things, there are pairs of opposites. One thing the buddhi can shake when somebody outside says something. That can happen, na? Somebody can come and say something. Are, what are you doing this mission thing? This thing. People, when I was in the course, they said, what are you doing? Come on back home, forget it. So from outside there. And one thing is, it can come from inside also. That's the problem. So Nischala is, when your buddhi, whatever you hear from outside, your buddhi remains firm. That no, what I am doing is correct. I am studying this Vedantic studies. This is the correct thing. There is nothing else. Because there are more people who will want us not to be on this path, because they are not. and they don't understand the importance of this path. You will always notice in your friend circle, how many few people are coming for like into any kind of spirituality, right? As compared to the general population, this spiritual population is very less. So there will be people. So that our intellect must not shake. We must never have even an iota of doubt that what I'm doing is not correct. That is Nischala. And Achala is from within only, within, Are kya, I've been doing for so many months and years, and nothing is happening to me and all that. That is then, that also should not happen. You must keep at it. Gurudev used to say, keep your goal so high that you never reach it. So you keep going towards the goal. And the highest goal is God. There is no other higher goal in this world than God, right? So you keep the goal, moksha, as a goal and keep working towards it. You will, I've given this example to you before also. It's like walking through a tunnel, which is dark. And as you walk on this path, there are little, like holes in that tunnel through which the light comes through. And as you purify your mind, you will see this light. It's something that you need to experience yourself, because there's nothing external, it's within. So when you see that light, you know that at the end of the tunnel there is light, and that will keep you going. And because there's just a beam of light, and then again there is dark in the tunnel. Okay, so you come across that beam and then you go into the dark again, but you know that there will be another beam. And as you go through many beams of such light, your faith strengthens in the knowledge. And you know that you're doing the correct thing. Internally, you know it. And that will keep you on the path. Otherwise, you will shake. So this is what Bhagavan says here, that when this intellect shall stand immovable. What is immovable? Means the faith is so strong that nobody can shake it. Nobody can, say that, what Vedanta, what is this? What did you get? What did you earn? But usually rich, paisa to hai nahi, tumhare paas Vedanta kar. It's not, because that's what their goal is, right? But they don't understand. People have so much importance for money. They don't realize that money only goes up to a certain extent. And after that, money is no good. Right? So this is what, and steady in the self. And the steadiness is only in the self. Why? Because only the self is steady. Everything else is in a state of flux. No matter what you say, I'm very intelligent. So you hold on to intellect. No, it's in a state of, it is anatma. It is changing. It is changing. So no matter what you hold on to in this world, money, prestige, influence, intelligence, whatever, it's in a state of flux. So steadiness is only there in the self. So when that intellect becomes steady in the self, because only there it can be steady, or that's why the faith on the path that this is taking me, then you shall attain self-realization. The intellect should not move from that place of steadiness. And no matter what you hear from outside, no matter what happens from inside. Sometimes, inside is difficult. Outside is easy, because inside your vasanas are acting up, right? So that's why we see that there are people who go up to a certain extent and they drop out, etc. But that's why we pray that please keep me on the path. That's the main thing that I pray, that let me not waver, because I don't know what I have a reasonable conviction that anything that anybody says from outside will not influence me. I have that reasonable conviction, right? But within, I don't know now. I don't know what vasanas I have, right? So that becomes the difficult part. So that's why Bhagavan says that you should not, anything should not shake your intellect. And the only unshakable place is the self. Otherwise, everything else is in a state of flux. Oops. Okay. So we'll stop here for today. And so we are on the Sthita Prajna Lakshana. Oh, good. This is what I was kind of hoping for. So from 54, there is a question by Arjun. Beautiful question. And we start then the last portion of this chapter, the characteristics of a realized master. extremely important portion also. And yeah, we'll take it, look at it. I was thinking about it. So basically it is at the highest level we'll take it, but then we'll also bring it down to our level. We have to, because yeah, the realized master has no desires, you know, and but what about me? So we'll take a look at it. Any questions? Just a few minutes are left. Sorry. Everybody's okay? All right.